Hi, this year is dedicated to the memory of Rachelea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi, as always, and we're going back to the third Beis HaMikdash. It's a funny phrase, going back to it, but that's what we're doing. Last week we spoke about the meaning of the things that are inside the Mikdash. Today we're going to continue more with the Mikdash itself and what's going to happen when we actually begin to use it. Okay, so we spoke last time about the dimensions of the Mizbeach and its meaning. And moving from there, we spoke about, again, how what happened in a Korban is that a person's compulsive animal side was poured out. We spoke about how there are two reasons for sin. One is mistaken belief, and the other is compulsivity. So the compulsive nature of the animal's soul pours forth. And it's possible for anybody, at the time the korbanos were offered, to move beyond that, which is a huge thing to consider. So, moving from there, from the midos of the Mizbeach, we're going to talk about more things that happened actually at that time. Okay, so bear with me. We're in Perakim Mem Gimel, Pasuk Yud Chet. Vayomer Elai, Ben Adam, Ko Amar Hashem Elokim, Elo Chukot HaMizbech Beyom He'asato, Lalot Alav Olav V'Lizrok Alav Dam. So Hashem speaks to Yecheskel again, and he tells him that these are the dimensions of the Mizbeach on the day that it was to be made. Meaning what we're going to be hearing now is about the future Chanukat HaMizbeach, the inauguration of the Mizbeach as it'll be in Bayit Shlishi. Okay, so this is how the Olot, the elevation of the animal, will go up, and this is how the surface of Zrikat Adam, spilling the blood, will be. So as we said last time, spilling the blood has to do with the outpouring of everything that's animalistic, containing it in holy vessels. V'natata el hakohanim haleviyim asher hem mizeret tzadok hakrovim elai nuam Hashem Elokim l'shaiteni par ben bakar lechatat. So the first thing is that in inaugurating the Mizbeach, you have to first inaugurate the Kohanim themselves, the people who are going to be serving. Okay, so these people, as we've just read, are going to be specific Kohanim, not all of the Kohanim as we have today, but only specific ones. These specific ones are going to be the Bnei Tzadok. So we spoke about this in a previous shir. Why them? So the reason, as it says in the text, because they're near to Hashem. So what does being close to Hashem mean? I'm sure if anybody asks you, do you want to be close to God, you would say yes. But what does it mean? God, He's there, we're here. So when you talk about the idea of dveikus, I want you to consider what dveikus means in a human relationship. In order to get close to someone, you have to have some commonality. You have to be able to look at the other person and see something of yourself. So a person who's close to Hashem, they have to have similarity of midos. In our minds, we can't become similar to Hashem. It says, Lo machshavotay machshavotecha, my thoughts are not your thoughts. But our midot are the tselem. So the first of all of the midot is chesed, giving forth, which is the midah of kahuna. Giving forth, however, when it has no limits, isn't holy any longer. So I'll give you a concrete example of this. America is a very, very humane, kind, chesed-oriented society. I don't know how much those of you who are American appreciate it, but the enormous freedom of religion that you have there, the social network, it's amazing. Nobody could really starve to death. There are enough means of preventing that in the welfare system. So the underlying belief is you have to make it better. You're there to make it better. But the problem is, if you don't know what better means, you run into trouble. Better than what? So on a physical level, better has an objective definition, better than suffering, better than death. Once you get out of the very simple physical meaning of the word better, if you don't include something else, then the equations go haywire. So some of you may know, they recently made same-sex marriages legal in New York. How does Hashem see this? Does he see it as good for people? Does he see it as two people who have every right and need to love each other? If that's how he saw it, that's how he would say it, but that's not what it says. In the Torah, that sort of relationship is called a to'eva. The word to'eva is always translated as abomination, but its simple meaning is something that distances you from me. So without going into this specific issue, because it's not related to our text, what we have is that Hashem tells us what distances us. And it invariably has to do with the animal overtaking the spiritual side of who we are.